Deutsche Bank Energy, the stock market is closed. It's 1:23 p.m. It's 5:25. We can see that we had broad-based buying again back in the energy. Yes, it's the end of the month. Money is going back to work. That bull money is coming off the sideline and buying. Commodities, they're buying again. Day 2, 3 in a row. That's what's giving these indexes some nice pushes toward their highs off of their reversals, their counter rallies. This is what's really pushing it again. The oil services, on the other hand, had a lot to do with it as well. Not to mention it's Morgan Stanley Oil Services, gold and silver. Gold and silver breakouts, and this is after market reports as to where the buying was and where they were going. In the financial and the S&P banking area, we've seen a little bit of green, not much, but it's going to take those to do well. Otherwise, these rallies will just fail. Let's take a look at fertilizers. Fertilizers, once again, great buys over in here. Rallies corrected, and then they come back in and they're buying in key areas. Let's take a look at the restaurant sector. They came in, a little bit of mixed buying across the board. Healthcare, on the other hand, it's a mixed bag. Leisure entertainment, that's going to be your casinos. Your casinos, they had some buying coming in here, so they think all is well. That's that end of the month. People are cost averaging in positions from the 4-week reversal. Let's take a look at the retail sector. The Morgan Stanley consumer, let's see if they did come back and buy these. No, they're selling those and they're buying energy. It's that clear. Let's take a look at the cyclicals. Once again, they did move back in the Morgan Stanley cyclicals. That's Caterpillar. All the ones that we point out, Deere, FCX, that's our first pick. So they're back in some of these cyclicals. The leadership, the consumer, no. So let's get down to the beaten down Philadelphia Semiconductor Index. NTAP just blew out their earnings, so they're going to add something to this. So we had broad-based buying in the semis. Look at the SMH. Okay? Technology today, where the CBO technology, yeah, buying in there, not a lot. Let's take a look at Credit First Swiss, the CTN.X. You had some buying across the board there. People put money to work at the end of the month is what they're doing. Big money's buying. Okay, you need to know it. We've had a correction. They feel they're getting a good deal. Here's the Dow Jones right here, the ECMX. That's the Dow Jones Internet. That's the Dow Jones Internet. They were buying in the Internet too as well. One of the other clue things to know would be the transportations. Let's take a look at the Dow Transports. Dow Transports, they were nibbling in there where they've been selling off. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ, once again, the NASDAQ Transports is a little bit of a mixed bag. It's okay. We just want to see where the end of the month money is going to work before June gets here and going into the holiday at the close today. Software is one that we really want to watch, and there's some spot buying in the software index. These are traditionally ones that get weak, but money is going to work. The Morgan Stanley Internet, which is a different group of stocks, Apple being a good leader today. The ranges are right here on each one. Google had a nice range, so you can see where some buying was and some selling in there. Another one that's very, very important is going to be the disk drives. A little bit of nibbling in here in your disk drive stocks. NTAP just blew out the earnings. That's where it's at. So this disk drive tomorrow, the sector DDX.X MMTs are going to gap up higher in sympathy of this earnings report on NTAP. And NTAP blew out their earnings. So we know what that's going to look like. The semiconductor devices had some buying as well. Nvidia's in here, 1836. Qualcomm's in here, but there was some buying. Not real heavily. The most heavy area is up there in those commodities that we've been covering off the bottoms. That gold and silver was a nice trade again. FCX, that's our leadership one that we like. So that would be a thing as far as your Philly, let's just call it Morgan Stanley Biotech Index. That's the indexes. The NAs are companies that are no longer there, but they're not a great deal of buying. And when you look at the broader NASDAQ biotech, we can see where we had some buying in that sector. We have lots of green. We have more green than red here. So there's a good buying going on there. And it's all being done. Today's 525. So they're doing their buying at the end during the holiday week. And we've had a couple of days of broad-based buying. The biggest areas, once again, we'll get back into these commodity-related stocks. Those is what led the correction down off of the highs, and this is where the buying and the trades have been on an intraday level and maybe a 1-day, 3-day, 5-day price action level. Natural gas, once again, we've had a couple of days. We like the APA. That's our favorite. EOG is in here. Okay, so some of the leaderships, it's this one here, and we like APA. But look at here. There was broad-based buying going into the end of the month, and that will conclude the walk around Wall Street and the indices and index caps of where these things were going. I will tell you the global auto part manufacturers got a little bit of a play before we conclude. So that supplies, auto part supplies. Those all the stocks in there are all auto part supplies on a global level. Global auto manufacturers even had a little bit of buying in some of these names. Not a lot. That's very weak. It's the parts that we like. So they were doing some buying here. We'll conclude the walk around Wall Street.